In this video, we're going to look at the distance and midpoint formula. This is still part of your homework number 1 in my math lab. There are two formulas that you need to know. These will be on test and your final exam, and you will not be given these formulas. The distance formula is the square root of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. And the midpoint formula is x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Now we're going to see how these are used. They'll be easier. Problem number 1 says, given the points -3, 4, and 7, 2, in A we want to sketch the line segment. Now first of all, you may have noticed these had subscripts. That just means that one of these is point 1 and one is point 2, and that is strictly up to you. If we let this one be point 1, then I'm going to label this x1, y1. Well, if that's point 1, this one would be point 2, x2, y2. And that's what I'll refer to as I go into my formulas. Now, the easiest way to sketch a graph of this line segment is simply to plot those 2 points. So first, I have -3 for x and 4 for y. The next one, I have 7 for x, which is, I have to extend this 1, approximate, and go up 2. Now take your straight edge. This said to sketch the line segment, which means we'll only go from point to point. We won't put arrows, we won't go past the line. Now our first formula, we're going to find the distance between these 2 points. So we're going to go under the square root and we're going to substitute. It says x2, which is 7, minus x1, which is -3, all squared, plus y2, which is 2, minus y1, which is 4, squared. Now, you remember that if you have a negative outside a parenthesis, it changes that sign. So now I have 7 plus 3. Well, 7 plus 3 is 10 squared. This parenthesis, I have 2 minus 4. That's a -2 squared. So now 10 squared becomes 100. -2 squared becomes a 4. I have the square root of 104. Now my math lab may let you leave it like this. They probably may ask you to reduce that. And that means that you'll use perfect squares and try to find a square root that you can pull out. For example, I think if we divide 104 by 4, I believe that would do it. 4 times 26 is 104. So if I had 4 times 26, I could take the square root of 4 out and it would be 2 square root of 26. But they may accept this. You might want to try this. If not, they're going to want you to reduce it. Now that's the distance from one point to the other. If they want an exact distance, they will want 104. If they want an approximate distance, they'll want you to go to a calculator and enter 104, take the square root, and you'll get 10 point something, 10.1 I think. The midpoint, now remember, point says we're going to have an ordered pair. Remember that. You know that you always have x's on the left, you have y's on the right. And in the formula, it said you're going to add these x's and add these y's. So I'm going to have my x's, -3 added to 7. I'm going to have my y's, 4 added to 2, and each of those divided by 2. Now -3 plus 7 is 4 over 2. 4 plus 2 is 6 over 2. And that's going to be 2, 3. Now one good check is if you go back, remember midpoint should be in the middle, mid. If I find 2, 3, that should be on my line, and it should be about the center of the line.